Hey YouTube, it's the Surface Geeks. It's May 20th. We're going to be talking Surface Pro 3. Of course, it was just announced today. And we also record, if you watch on video, little did you know, we also put this out on MP3. We put this out on a podcast. You can search for it in iTunes if you happen to know what that thing is. Or you can just search in your favorite podcast aggregator. If your podcast aggregator does not aggregate Surface Geeks, then go to surfacegeeks.net. There is a link to the podcast. You just got to throw that in there, get the RSS feed, and you can download Surface Geeks audio whenever you want. So we're about to go live here. It will be. Let me check my Skype connection. So that's probably not going to go. Which I didn't think it would, because it's only 8:45, and I saw a lot of pictures of those guys at Rattle and Hum. So now we're not talking about Darren. We're talking. I was going to try to get a third wheel. We've known for quite some time that Darren was traveling. I don't know what Surface Geek schedules travel on May 20th. I don't know. Not a good choice, Darren. iTunes? Yeah, see, I do that on purpose just to get you guys all worked up. Just to get you guys worked up. Especially you, Rob. Okay. We ready? I think. Yep. I see my audio levels bouncing. Hey, the tweet wall is behind me, guys, if you guys want to tweet this out. I don't know. Can you see yourselves up there? Anybody tweeting it? I don't know. The mysterious disappearance of the 8-inch Surface Mini. Dr. Pizza is already publishing this. I've got to read that. We're going to read that while we podcast. We're that good, by the way. Where is he?
Well, you'll be doing that while I speak. Usually you're tweeting or blogging.
You're podcasting.
Reading,
why isn't it on this? Try it for Kyle Reddick assignment. You want a timeline? This is not updating. Come on. $54 minutes? Come on, what's going on here? How come my Tweetium is not catching up? There we go. That's never fun. I want to read Ars Technica, Mysterious Disappearance. We will be talking about what showed up today at the Surface event and what didn't. So, but it was delayed at the last minute. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think that is true.
I have some thoughts on that, but we'll save that for the show.
Yes. Okay. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let me make sure I got OneNote. Got that part. Got the chat room. Of course, I got you guys. Yep, you guys are showing up on the. I see it on the wall. Okay, YouTubers, thanks for hanging in there. As much as I wanted a mini, they more than made up for it with the Pro 3. I agree. Dakima? Is that how you pronounce that? All right, if you're watching on YouTube, please join us at surfacegeeks.net/live. You can chat with us for free. You don't have to have credentials, passwords, anything. You can chat, ask questions, and feedback to us what you think about the Surface Pro and what was said today. So we're gonna record this. This is the Surface Geeks podcast recorded on it's Tuesday, May the 20th, 2014. This is episode number 67. Welcome back to the Surface Geeks podcast. I'm your host, David McCabe. I'm joined by Mr. John Wiskowski. How are you doing tonight, John?
I'm doing great. We get 2 Surface events in, 6 months or less? Amazing.
Yeah, so definitely definitely some news to discuss tonight. So it's great to be around on the same day, or great for our podcast to kind of line up with with the news that happened today. So May 20th, yes, Surface Pro 3 was announced, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what wasn't announced and who's here and who's not. So let's get into some Surface Geeks. If you want to follow us, follow the podcast, twitter.com/Surface Geeks. You know when we're going to go, what time we're going to go, where we're going to be, what we're doing. We won't tell you what we're eating. It's tech and tech only, so most of the time. And we have a great forum out there at surfacegeeks.net/forums where we do discuss this. There is a brand new section for Surface Pro 3. You go out there. It's Surface Pro 3, Pro 2, Pro. Surface 2, RT, and then like general discussion. I mean, Surface, it's full. This forum is huge. And of course, we also talk out there. We're big fans of Windows Phone, Xbox, anything Windows, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, anything out there we discuss. So join us out there in the forums. It's really kind of taken off. So forums always takes a long time to get the crowd in there and get discussions going and to get SEO rolling. And oh gosh, look, I just see a picture of the guys out there at Rattle and Hum. I see Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Looks like they're having a real good time out there in New York City, which we are not. We didn't get an invite to the press.
No, we have to work.
We have to work. Somebody's got a podcast while those guys are out there drinking beers. But I did get an invite to the after party. There's some kind of after party sponsored by Microsoft. But I asked. I said, "Well, can I get a press invite with that?" And they're like, "No, there's no more press invites." So
hey, sometimes
great.
after parties where it's at, and I'm sure they're serving light beer because light definitely seems to be one of the themes.
Yeah, look at that. Now there's a Miriam Tank Girl tweeted a picture of Thurrott and Edbot. I don't know if you can see that on your Twitter feed. And they're playing with the Surface Pro 3, which is why I wanted to go to the press event in the first place. And so no press event, I'm not going because that's a lot of money. So, guys, I need to type there. It looks like some guys are having trouble. If you don't see.
Well, just lost you, Dave. Dave?
What?
Oh, sorry. I thought your audio cut out for a second.
Oh.
And it was right when you were describing an issue from the chat room. So I was like, whoa, did we get taken down?
As usual, we're probably having some Google Plus problems. We're probably having some chat problems. But then again, join us at surfacegeeks.net/live. Every Tuesday night, you'll know we're out there. So we got a full room. We've got 28 on YouTube, and we've got 16 in chat on the website. So it's a pretty good night. So let's get to it, John. It was 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, May 20th. Surface Pro 3 was strutted out. But prior to that, CEO of Microsoft jumps on stage and kind of introduces, he did the regular spiel, John. I don't know if you saw it or you were able to look back and check it out, but he did the Microsoft spiel before bringing out Panos.
Right. I missed that part live, unfortunately, due to some work that I had to do today. I was not able to watch the whole event, but I did do a look back. I must say he looked young and energetic and excited to be there. And I think he wanted to touch on the fact that they were going to announce a hardware device and talk about why they do devices a little bit. Because, of course, a lot of the strategy has been software, and cloud, and services, right? Actually, really, it was mainly cloud and services, right? Even more than software lately when we've heard him speak. But he did always throw in the devices, and we weren't sure, is that something he was really committed to and that his organization was going to be committed to? And I think this was his way of saying, yes, we are going to be committed to hardware. But as he said, not just for hardware's sake, but for specific reasons. And I think that was hit home by what they decided to focus on at today's event with the product that was announced.
Right. Yeah, I've got someone teasing me right now. See that right there on the
Mm-hmm.
phone? Yeah, thanks for the tease there, buddy. Thanks a lot. Something you mentioned about how he described them as a devices company. He said something so telling to me that I instantly knew what was going to be announced. He said, and I don't have the quote. I didn't write it down. I didn't look it up, but he said like they're trying to differentiate their hardware, and he didn't want to put things out there that other vendors were putting out there, or OEMs were putting out there. He didn't want to duplicate efforts. And immediately I knew at that moment there would be no Surface Mini. I just I knew right at that moment, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the podcast. So he brings out Panos, and Panos Panay is the ultimate Surface geek, and so it was pretty predictable that he would be introducing Surface Pro.
He really loves Surface.
He does. I think even though he said he gets nervous and all, I think he likes the camera too. I think Panos likes the camera. I think Panos likes those gatherings. I think he likes to strap on that mic, and he likes to have that presence and speaking to people. I think he enjoys that. And the reason I say that is I do have some experience with it. I was able to listen to a talk with him in Seattle this past November. I was in a room. Actually, I was in a room with one of these very shirts,
Nice.
and he pointed me out. He's like, "What's that?" So it was kind of cool. But he looks the part. I think he does love Surface. I mean, he's invested in it. This is his. It's his
Yes.
baby.
Yep. Yeah, there you can just feel it, and you can tell by how excited he is, and it could almost be a negative, right? Because he's so excited about the littlest things about the product, and some people in the audience, because all they do all day is report on tech, right? They're like, oh, so what? There's a lot of facts and figures he throws out at you, but it's because he really cares. He cares that it's X% lighter, it has this much more storage space or the battery life, and he just loves to share that because it's important to him that we continue to make our products even better. And if it's 20% last year was improvement, another 20% this year, and that really means a lot to him.
True, very true. And he exudes a lot of confidence with the product, and it may seem a little pompous to outsiders, but this Microsoft crew and these guys that watch us and that watch them, they already know that, and I worry that maybe some outsiders, even some of those in the press room, feel it as a little pompous. But once again, you're watching Surface Geeks live. We're here every Tuesday. I've got some stuff for you, John, that you didn't hear at the press release, and it may not even be published yet. I have some
Wow.
information on Surface Pro 3, mostly for you commercial guys, you enterprise guys. You're going to like this. You IT staffers, you're going to like this information that I have that I'll be giving you here. So just hang in there with us. We're going to be talking about that. Again, joined by Mr. John Wiskowski. Darren is out. He is on location somewhere. I don't know. Darren Cohen, Fins Up DNC, our third partner in crime. He's out there somewhere. He missed the event, and of course he's in New York City. So I don't know what he was thinking.
How convenient.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him pop up on your wall back there shortly.
Yeah, he will. He's probably feeding beers to Mary Jo and Paul. No, I do think he's actually traveling. I think he's actually
Yeah.
working. He really
He is.
did
Yeah.
schedule something. So I don't think he was too happy about this event anyway. But that's just Darren's style. He's always Mr. Negative. We'll give him a lot of heck when he gets back. So Panos is out there, and immediately I'm on Twitter, and Panos is talking to the press. He's talking to the crowd. They do pan the crowd and show MacBook City, and
Mm-hmm.
he says, I don't know if he said this per se, but a lot of the talk on Twitter was, the Surface Pro 3 was not designed for the people in this room, and yet you'll be the ones that get it first, and will be reviewing it. And I thought, holy cow, that is so what we have been trying to say on this podcast for like the last year. Is
It
this
would have been great for him to be like, we're going to give this to 100 other people,
let them
not to
review
you
it, not
guys.
you guys?
Right.
That would be justice.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. Almost every one of them had either a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro or something sitting on their laps, doing their blogging thing. And they all went home with a Surface Pro 3. But
Mhm.
we won't be mad at that. We're
Well,
bigger
because
than that.
it'll be interesting to see how they feel about it, right? There were a lot of comparisons that they made to Apple's products, the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro. Um, I thought there was a lot of Air talk in the clips that I show from the event, and on the website, if you go to the store to look up some pricing and some details, there's a lot of comparisons to the Surface. I'm sorry, to the MacBook Pro. So they definitely are making that comparison for you if you're not already making that comparison.
Correct. And he started out. He started out by saying 3 years ago they were up there saying the tablets are going to kill laptops, and other folks were up there saying tablets are going to kill laptop sales. And we've just found out that that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. He was saying everybody out here has your MacBook, but you've got an iPad in your bag. And he just said it. You've got an iPad. I know you do. And it's true. I bet you almost every single one of them had a tablet in their bag, and probably not a Surface for most of that tech press. I say there was probably a couple of tech press out there. Paul, Mary Jo, Ed, maybe
Yeah.
some of those guys.
Um, Rubino from Windows Phone Central had his Surface 2 LTE, so I'm not the only one who loves the Surface 2 LTE.
Okay, so two
He
people
was
have bought
talking
it.
about his device, yeah. So,
Daniel Rubino and yourself.
Daniel Rubino, that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see, though. But no, but you're right. Things did not work out as they planned originally. So that probably leads into the direction that this product is going to take. Correct?
Yeah, and one pain point is that I kind of knew some of these stats. I didn't know everything about the Surface Pro 3. I knew a couple of things about it that I was really excited about, and I was really excited that it was all true. That some of the information that came my way was true, and some of the tech press caught up with it, especially late last week. It really started rolling that it was going to be an iDevice, an Intel processor
Mm.
per se, not an ARM processor. And it was going to be bigger, and then finally it came out it's going to be 12 inches, and then people were saying it's going to be thinner, faster, lighter, and all this kind of good stuff. And sure enough, that's what Panos did. He came out. He was really nonchalant about it, John. He said his spiel. He said his comparisons about the MacBook Air, and he had a MacBook Air there, he had an iPad Air there, and he was dead set on comparing those, and he did, and he said, this is the Surface Pro 3, and then he rolled the video, and the video is pretty good.
Yep.
If I'll put that video in the show notes, but it's already in the forums, surfacegeeks.net/forums. Go out there, check it out. There's a brand new Surface Pro 3. There's a couple of threads. I've put out the pricing. I've put out some information and the video where you can watch that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say we probably don't have to go too much into the specs if you're watching the show or in the chat room, right? I mean, you can hit up the website or you were following live today, but starts at $799, right? Which would make it the least expensive Pro model yet. Which I think
it does.
is key.
I mean, if we want to throw out just the basics, 12-inch, 21 by 60 by 1440, it's got a lot of freaking pixels in a 12-inch screen. and it's got a 2:3 aspect ratio. We can talk about that in a little bit. And pricing starts at $799, and that is a Core i3 model. It's an i3 processor. I believe, John, that's 4 gigs of RAM.
Correct.
And if my memory serves well, that's 64 gig
Yep.
SSD on that. I mean, we're talking entry level. It's $800. It's entry level. That's going to come with a pin.
However, I think if you were to weigh out what you're going to do with it, which is something that he mentioned earlier, like to me, I almost see that as the Surface 2 Pro, and notice the way that I said that. Like I feel like that would be a great device to step up to. So I love my Surface 2, right? Maybe I do want more, but the way that I use it, it's touch mainly, right? So if I just wanted a pen and I wanted some more power and I wanted the x86 flexibility, I think that would be a really great device. Of course, we need to see some of the performance, but I believe it won't be too far off, and especially for the modern UI. I mean, those apps are going to fly. There's no way those are going to slow down. But it also, and I'm sure Office is going to run fine. And of course, you can then think about what other applications you would like to run. But I find that device really compelling, and we can talk more about it later. But I don't even know if I would purchase a type cover right away. I think I may want one eventually, but I love to type on the screen, and because of some of the features that this device has, I think it's going to have a great on-screen typing experience. So I think you could have a really nice tablet there for that money, but of course that's a really high-priced tablet, and that's not exactly what this product line is for. It's for a lot more than that. But I do think that is a capable machine that could sell well in certain markets and for certain use cases. So I think it's important that it's there.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because I know that this is a pro product,
Right.
And that is a reach down into the lower end, of the consumer space. It's like, okay, we've got one at $790. We got there. Yeah, it doesn't have. It needs a 128 SSD. If it had a 128 SSD and it was a $799 product, it'd just be blow the doors off. Fantastic. The only reason I say that is because you don't have to, but you still really need to add a keyboard to make this thing complete. It's got to have that keyboard, and that's $129. So it's going to come with $799. It's going to come with a pin. It comes with a pin. It comes with a 36-watt power supply. It's a little more juice. It's going to give you a little more charge there. And if you want to dock it, that's another $200. So it's $1,000 to get out the door, John. When you go $800 for the tablet, $129 for the keyboard.
Yeah.
And then you got tax. You're $1,000 into this thing.
And I don't know how many people that would purchase this model would be going after the dock, right? Because if you were going to do the desktop replacement route, I can see you wanting to step up to the i5 because of disk space and some other things that you mentioned. That's what I was trying to say, that for someone like me who's not like most people, if I was going to buy the Pro 3, that's the model I would buy, because I would want the fastest tablet, that I could get, knowing that most of the apps I'm going to run are the modern UI. It would make no sense for me to have an i7. It wouldn't make any sense for me to do that at all, right? So it's sort of, to me, like that high-end tablet, right? If I wanted a tablet that I could also use to do some laptop replacement work, maybe even some replacement for a small desktop, I could do that for $800. Like I said, I don't know if I would buy the keyboard. I think I would eventually, just to use it sort of as a cover. It holds the pen, right? So maybe I would get, let's say, that and the cover, if you are right that it is something that I would need to have. But I don't know if I would need to get the dock and all the other accessories.
One thing they said, I got this information after the event. They didn't say this at the event, that the keyboards are interoperable.
Yes.
Keyboards are interoperable. Not that you would want to do it.
Right.
But if you wanted to buy one of the new keyboards for your Surface Pro 2, it would work. It would just look odd.
Well, I think more importantly, vice versa. If you just want to use your current Surface Pro 2 keyboard.
Correct.
If you're a real light user.
Right, and if you are a desktop replacement, like you said, you dock it.
Yeah.
or you just set it on your desk and you use a pluggable, a
Uh-huh.
$99 USB 3 extension, like
Right.
from yeah, it's called a pluggable. I'm using one right here with my dock actually. Um, then you just Bluetooth all the way. So maybe you don't need it. Maybe you don't need it, but you're right. You will want the i5. You will not want to start with the i3. I need to put something out there because I'm getting a couple questions. I
Sure.
am a Surface MVP, but that title does not garner me anything more than John sitting in Florida working for Universal. It doesn't get me any more information prior to the event than you, the listening public. So I just want to make that clear. Like, Panos didn't come to me, in April and say, "Yo, Dave, is this cool? Do you like this?" They keep this under lock and key. They just don't trust us yet. I wish they did. I wish they did. But again, this is big time stuff. This is big league stuff. There are people at Microsoft that probably work on the Surface team and didn't know about some of these things. So this is under lock and key kind of thing in the vault. Having said that, I do have friends in Microsoft. I do have contacts in Microsoft. I've been doing this for a while. Yeah, I might have gotten a little bit of information here and there, but that information does me no good, especially for you, because I do have an NDA signed with Microsoft. Even if I did find something out and it was not public yet, I could not make that public. Now, once it does become public, I can discuss it. Just like, for the past couple of weeks, we've been discussing, Surface Mini Talk. So, excuse me. Although, John, I have to say this. There's a Microsoft event on June 2nd in Indianapolis, and I am just jonesing to go. I am hoping there will be one there. But I also hope for myself and you, everybody out there, they deliver these to the Microsoft store
Mm-hmm.
prior to them being sold. There'll probably be a demo unit. And the Microsoft store, you can pick them up and play with them
Oh
and
yeah.
turn them over.
I was able to play with the Surface 2 before it came out that way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing how the store does that.
I think it's going to be there tomorrow.
Apple will not
But
do that.
yeah, I
You
think it's
know,
going to be there tomorrow. But we'll find out.
I asked, they didn't know.
Okay.
I hit up some of my contacts saying, "Are they going to be there?" And
Right.
because I want to go. And typically, I have seen these things arrive on a Sunday morning. Every time that I have caught one, it has been a Sunday morning.
Right.
I don't know why, but maybe that's just an Indianapolis thing. I don't know.
It could be the start of a week, and they have things, and it says you can put this out starting X date. The shipments come in on Saturday, Friday or Saturday. By the time you get them unboxed, inventoried, all that good stuff. But that could just be the day. But I think it'd be interesting. I bet they're out before the weekend, so there'll probably be some extra holiday traffic because of the long holiday.
I would say, if it were my guess, I would say that it would be another week. I
Okay.
think that they will give the press and them at least 7 to 10 days with the device to get those reviews out there, and then they'll put the hardware out there. That would be me. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna FedEx one. Maybe they've already FedExed them today to the stores to get them there, for the weekend. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. But please report back to us if you find out that one shows up in your Microsoft store, and we can get our hands on it, because I'm going to be the first one to go and check that out. Now, here's something Microsoft has done right. They will take your money tonight at midnight. You can order one of these things. I was told midnight. That's
Now,
not to
so
say that the
that's
store will
now
be ready.
what time? Which coast? Because I heard someone say 9 p.m. So is
That
that'd be
I
West Coast
assume
time?
that person was talking West
Okay.
Coast, and it's going to be a midnight Eastern
Okay.
kind of thing.
And then it'll be interesting because they do have a date there of June 20th for the first shipment. Because I'm wondering, like last time with Surface 2, I made a mistake and I pre-ordered but it was made more sense for me to go to the store that day and pick it up because I could have it at 8 a.m. in the morning or 10 a.m. in the morning, right?
You wanted it
Instead of
that.
when the UPS guy came. But I wonder if with this one, is that 620 a quote unquote hard date? You know, can I walk into a Best Buy, into a Microsoft store and pick one up, or should I order one? And of course, you always have to worry about supply constraints too, right? But if I had to guess, there's going to be some sort of in-store supply available
Yes.
on or about
Yeah.
that 620 date. Yeah.
I think there will be. I am struggling with that same thing. Okay, if I do get one, which I probably will, how do I do it? Do I order it? I told someone today on Twitter, I said, don't trust supply. Order it as soon as it is available.
Yes,
I
and I would
think
agree. Yeah.
I think the pre-orders will dry up
Yes, I agree.
prior
Quickly.
to June 20.
Yeah, I think they will
And
very
then
quickly, actually.
those people that will push them over and say, well, yeah, I want one now. I want one. And then it'll be you and I, beating each other up in the line at the store trying to get one. So I'm kind of the notion to just say, maybe you should pre-order.
Yeah, because most people aren't like us and don't need it first thing that morning. You just want to have it that day. Usually, that's good enough to get it launch day.
What's the date?
As
That is like 30 days from today.
Even when I was
Friday.
obsessed with having to have the newest iPhone or iPad, once they did it, so you could pre-order it and have it delivered to your house. That's what I did. I mean, I did not need to stand in line at stores necessarily. And
Yeah.
of course, this will be different. But the problem with the Surface 2 event was it was tied into the store opening by me. So it was, everyone was there to get tickets for Pitbull and to win a contest and do this, and I'm just like, I just want to get a Surface, please. So yeah, I would say pre-order it if you're up, or they're available tomorrow morning when you log in if you're interested.
Yeah, I would think.
And of course, some people might have to wait because the model that they want might not be available tomorrow. We didn't quite say that yet, but it's kind of a staggered rollout. But I think you mentioned that on or about August 1st, it should be available in all markets.
I think I put that in the show notes, right? August 1st is, I believe, the worldwide date where everybody should be able to be. Okay, I don't have a country list, but mostly Europe, Japan, let's just say that.
Right.
All markets by August 1st, and I think what I remember hearing was the Core i7s were not going to be available until later.
Sure.
We're going to have to see that in the store. I don't know if I trust that or not. I don't know if I trust, because I was told that it would be Core i5 as the first version that was going to be for sale, but then that kind of goes against having that Core i3 available for those.
Well, still on the website, the
i3
is listed August 31st along with the i7.
Okay, August 31st.
And they probably did a deal with Intel. Like, listen, what can you do for us? And they're like, well, you can wait till August for all of them, or we can give you one first.
Surface.com?
Surface.microsoftstore.com is where I'm going.
Okay, so they're...
Because I like to see availability, and I think that's where you can best get that.
Oh, because this afternoon when I was hitting those pages pretty hard, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
They hadn't got them loaded yet. And I'm dying on bandwidth. I don't know what's going on.
And if anybody asks, I have canceled an order from the Microsoft Store before because I was able to pick it up in store. It's real simple. It's real easy. I think I could
what
do
if it's
that
on
over
the truck at that point?
Oh, well, that day. But like, I mean, I made the decision as we knew there was going to be in-store stock,
Okay.
a couple days before.
So
Something
you're
like
saying order it now, and then if
I would order it now,
information comes out, you could cancel it.
play it out. Maybe you'll hear something like, "Oh, every store is going to have at least 100," or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I would pre-order it. I think that's our advice as Surface Geeks, to just pre-order it, get it ordered, take care of it, free shipping, all that good stuff.
I think so. Let's talk
So how do you
about this hardware.
Well, yeah, you want to talk about the hardware a little bit? I have a couple thoughts, and then maybe you can wrap that into more of the technical stuff, because I think you're a little more well versed on that. But I really like that the Surface 2 and the Surface 3 look like a family. It makes me feel better about my Surface 2, right? I don't feel like I have last year's Surface, If it was black, I think I'd feel that way. Now that we're kind of going to have a standard of this silver, this very cool look that I appreciated about the Surface 2, you're now going to get that as the Surface 3. So that's why I kind of feel like the Surface 3 is, clearly the pro model of the Surface 2. Like, I think they just blend together really well. I still am a touch Windows guy. I prefer touch Windows as opposed to keyboard and mouse. And I think I'm becoming that way with all operating systems. I don't think it's a Mac versus Windows thing. I think I just want to touch as much as I can my software. And so I still feel the Surface 2 line is a choice for me, and I'm happy that I made that choice. I'm glad it's still there. There's some talk on Twitter about that. I think it's interesting the Pro 2 is not available for sale on the site. At least it's not listed in the lineup. I think you can dig and somehow do a package and build one. But it would have been interesting to see where that price point fit. I could be one of those things like with the iPhone 5 that they couldn't afford to lower the price drastically on the Surface Pro 2. It might not have made sense economically. And then if you lowered it too much, let's say they could afford to do that, it would be the same price as the Surface 2. So I think that's why the Surface Pro 2 is gone, and now you have this nice lineup of Surface 2, Surface 3. One day I want to get to one device that replaces my computer at home, and that I could grab with me and take when I travel, and maybe move around the house. Maybe I don't want to work in my room. I want to work outside or in the den. And this is a great device for that, for a lot of things that we'll probably talk about, the lapability, the size, the shape. But I'm confident this year, next year, I'm getting a Surface Pro 3 or something like it and a dock, and I'm going to replace my setup at home. I'm really excited to do that. I'm not ready. I'm not sure if I'm ready to make that investment now. The setup I have at home works pretty well, but as soon as I start feeling I need some more power, or I'm tired of this setup, I want something different, I'm definitely going to be looking towards this. I'm very excited to have one device that can be at least the tablet, the laptop, and the desktop. I mean, I think that's pretty cool that I could have one device. And I know you have some experience with that, Dave, with the Surface Pro 2, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that. And again, I like that the i3 model's there. I wish it had LTE. Man, if that thing had LTE, I would be an instant buy, because I think it'd be one of the greatest portable tablet/laptops of all time. But for some reason, Intel-based machines still don't have LTE, and hopefully that changes soon. It's not just Microsoft; it's also Apple. The MacBook Air is an ideal device to have LTE. There are some from Sony, which is now out of the PC business. I think Lenovo has an option or two out there, but it certainly is hard to come by. But all in all, I'm very happy with the design, with the attention to detail, and I don't want to talk too much about the design because I think we're going to hit that as we get into the hardware. But those are a couple points that I wanted to make.
Surface Pro 2 going on clearance? Probably not, guys. I think they're going to sell through their stock. I think you'll see them sell through their stock, and that's probably going to be it.
If you go to the store and scroll all the way down, surface.microsoftstore.com, there's clearance, but it's Surface, Surface Pro, and Surface Pro refurbished. So that's what they have on clearance right now. Surface for $299, Surface Pro refurbished for $399, and Surface Pro new for $599. So it's about $80 to $300 worth of savings depending which model that you pick.
Yeah, and if you want a Surface Pro 2, just hang out. There's about to be a couple on eBay in the coming months or on Craigslist for all the guys that probably like me that want to replace theirs. So TikTok, or was this Tick and Talk?
Oh, it was definitely not TikTok. In fact, I want to talk to you maybe at the end. Why was the Surface Pro 2 released last fall? Was it because the Pro 3 wasn't ready? And that's why the style of that didn't change much. Like what would they have preferred to just have announced this last year because it matches so well with the Surface 2? I think this is the Surface Pro 3 that they envisioned, just like the Surface 2 is the Surface that they envisioned. So I think now they have the lineup that they wanted to have from when they first announced Surface.
Pro 2 owners pissed? Would you be, John?
Yes and no. I would be a little annoyed, but I want to come back to that because I love what Microsoft did. Um, but it's also a different device. The screen size is different, and there are some people in the chat room who love the form factor of the Surface Pro 2, and now that's going away. So you might love that Surface Pro 2, and you may never let it go because it may be the ideal form factor for you. Because let's be honest, something not much larger than an iPad, full-featured Windows 8.1 PC, right? With some really nice feature set. I want to applaud Microsoft for not waiting. They could have held this until October. There's no reason why they had to announce it now and release it now, but they are, and they're like, you know what? It's ready. We're ready to unleash it to the world. It's coming out now, and I love that. I hate when I find out people are just sitting on things because of timing. Oh, we have to wait. Surface events are October or whatever the excuse is. And you know me, I've been asking for this. Come on, if something's ready, let's get it out there.
Right. I bought my Surface Pro 2, I think in February, John. And I did end up doing the desktop replacement. I bought Surface Pro shortly after I bought Surface RT, and I ended up taking it back because I wasn't ready.
And those weren't released at the same time, so you had a little, you already kind of fell in love with the Surface RT.
Correct. I was using Surface RT at that point. Surface Pro 2 has, in fact, replaced my desktop. It has, and it's done a very good job. I'm docking it. In order for me to do so, I needed some additional USB ports. So I did purchase a pluggable USB 3 dock, and I run using is it DisplayLink?
DisplayPort?
What's that technology? Video over USB 3. I can't remember its name. It's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah, it's got to be like DisplayLink or something. Yeah.
DisplayLink or something. But I use that. So I have one display port going out to a 27-inch monitor, and then out of the pluggable, there is it uses USB 3 video. It has a connection to another 27-inch monitor. It pushes it. I don't game. I don't do color matching stuff. I'm not a designer or anything. It does what I need to do. I just need real estate. I need real estate. And I love the dock. I pop the keyboard off, but the keyboard will fit in the dock if you need it. And I really enjoy that. And that's the pain point right now because the new Surface Pro 3, will not fit in the dock that is possibly sitting on some of your desks right now. Sitting on this one.
And that dock is still hard to get. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame. Like, a lot of people just got that dock.
Yeah.
They might have gotten Pro 2 on October, right? Yeah, and I just got all set up. Surface Pro 2 weren't huge changes, size-wise and everything. So it's tough, man, to have to buy all new accessories. It really, really is. But Apple has done that before. They just have to kind of cut you off and say we're going Lightning. That's all new docks, all new cables.
Yeah.
iPad. Think about every time there's a new iPad. Chances are that keyboard cover you just bought, that's probably not going to fit just quite right unless you got a real generic one. That they tend not to be as good as the specific.
Well, you know what's painful? I have a dock. I have a great solution right now. Let's say I go out and get the Surface Pro 3.
Yep.
If I do that, the docks aren't ready yet.
Of course.
The docks won't be ready until mid-August.
They better be ready with the higher end models, which are clearly the desktop replacement.
That's painful right there.
Yeah.
Why can't they get a dock ready?
All accessories.
Right.
Now, do we give them an excuse because of the way this is a staggered launch?
You got to have accessories ready. Come on, I don't know what they're doing with their docks.
Not that you will do this, but technically, you should wait until mid-August. And whether you're going to buy the model that's out in June or not, you should go to the Microsoft Store in August and just buy everything that you want, right? So it's actually causing you to not buy right away, and things could change by August. what if Lenovo comes out with the same thing, or Dell or something, or I don't know. And of course, we don't think they will. This is a very unique product, but yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
if
it's
they're
not a white
releasing it,
label.
they need to strike. To me, this is how I feel. They need to strike. They need to get me while my wallet's out. My wallet is open. I would throw on a dock. I would get a Pro 3, a keyboard, and a dock, all on the same shopping cart. They need to strike it while it's hot, because otherwise, I get my Pro 3 and I get my keyboard. They're gonna miss out on my 199 purchase because I've already figured out a way to work around it.
A
That two
breakout
hundred
box, yeah,
dollars is going to go
yeah,
to, going to get a phone, new phone. I'm not going to
yeah.
buy a dock. I'm
Or
just,
you'll buy a generic breakout box.
yeah,
Maybe not the
which,
dock. You'll say, "Oh, this is great, USB 3.0. I got everything I need."
yeah, and I paid
So,
$99 for it on Amazon.
and also interesting, no reason they had to have the event now, right? They could have said, "Well, you know what? 60% of our lineup or more is not available till August. Let's push this event back a little bit." So it's really interesting what they're doing here with that whole release cycle and everything. But they must have been excited about the product. They knew at least one or two variants were ready in the next 30 days, and
Yeah, okay.
they pulled it.
Pains me. I don't understand them sometimes.
And we know it's not just them. It happens to other vendors.
It does.
Samsung and the Galaxy S5, you want a wireless charging cover, you're still waiting. You know,
Yeah.
it
That
happens.
docking port will have 3 USB 3s. It'll have 2 USB 2s. It'll have audio out. It will not have audio in. It has mini display port. It'll have a Kensington lock.
Can I
Something
ask
I
you
found
about?
out.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not, but I'm going to. Um, is on my dock right here in front of me. There's a display port on the Surface Pro 2. It's in the lower part,
Yep.
and the dock shoves into it. It has something that pokes into it. If
Yep.
you look on the pictures where Panos is holding it up, showing you the side profile of that Surface Pro 3,
Yeah, it's not there.
mini display port's at the top.
Yep.
It's at the top, so your dock would have to like wrap around it, which it does not.
Right.
So they've got this docking port now, so it's all underneath, and it I think it gets its power via that method,
Sure.
and there's some data connectivity down there as well, and it has the display port connectivity there.
Yeah, it's like a super 30-pin dock connector, right? It's just got everything in it.
It must be something really crazy. Now here's the question that I didn't get answered.
Sure.
So the dock's going to have the display port on it,
Okay.
so you can go out to a monitor. What happens if you go
I know what you're
display
asking.
port out on the side,
Yep.
drive another monitor
Yep.
with, because when you're display port, you're not doing the chintzy little USB 3 video that I'm doing right here.
Yep.
We're talking, this is real stuff here. I'm driving my second screen with just as much power as I'm driving my first screen.
Sure.
I'm not doing this USB 3 stuff.
Yep.
So interesting. Something I still need to answer if anyone out there knows that
I would
question.
I would love to see that work. If not, I mean, there's ways to do the daisy chaining, but it would be kind of cool to just have that be an option. And I bet it could be something that maybe some software drivers could help fix if it's not available at launch, sort of thing. So for a little bit of a fun fact, real quick, before we get too far away from it, you can build a Surface Pro bundle, and you can pick a Surface Pro or Surface Pro 2. The Surface Pro 2 for 64 gigabytes is out of stock. You can get a Surface Pro for 256 gigabytes for $749, and you can get a Surface Pro 2 with 512 gigabytes for $1799. I will have to say that is not a good buy unless you really love that 10.1-inch form factor.
That's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah, a lot of cheddar. But so you talked about the dock.
So somebody on Twitter asked me today what the GPU was going to be, and I had to look up the actual GPU. I knew the GPU for Surface Pro 3. I didn't know it for the old one. So Surface 2 has the HD 4400 graphics chip. That's what I'm running right now. So I looked that up. The Surface Pro uses the HD 4000 GPU.
Yep.
And Surface Pro 3 is stepping it up, and it's in increments. The i3 has a 4200, the i5 has a 4400, and the i7 is going to have the newest, latest, greatest HD 5000 chipset. So I did not go out to find benchmarks on those. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure someone has benchmarked just the chip itself, the Intel processor. So,
Is this something we can speak to about a little bit more? These specific chips?
yeah, that information right there. Yes, you may.
Because I'm not sure if you noticed, there is something unique about that i3.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Do you think
What did you
that's
notice
accurate?
about it?
Well, I don't believe that's a Haswell.
Are you sure?
No, but
I just thought
I'm
that
pretty
would be a
close.
variant.
So I believe you're right. It could be a variant, but that's definitely an ultra low power variant. And if you notice, the clock speed is nowhere near what the i5 and i7s are. So that's
Correct.
very interesting. So I will reiterate my original statement that that is a touch tablet more so than it is a desktop or laptop replacement.
The
If that's
i3.
the processor.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully people don't get burned and say, "Oh, I got the new Surface Pro. Yeah, I got the i3 one. It's only $100," and then they put Photoshop on it and they're like, "Ooh." So that's kind of an interesting choice there. It'll be interesting to see because as soon as I saw the GPU on that, but if you do go to Microsoft Store's website, they do call it the fourth generation Intel, which is Haswell. So I could just be a little off my game here with specs and stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking it up on some of their official release. We're talking about the i3 and what generation that this is. And they say the option of 3 different 4th generation Intel Core processors. And the part numbers that we have is the Core i3 4020Y.
And the Y signifies just ultra low voltage. So the other processors are U. So the higher the letter, the less power it takes. For granted, and there's a couple other things like maybe you can't address as much memory, but the clock speed is significantly lower than the others. I can't confirm.
I'm not seeing it in public information. They just list 4th generation Intel Core i3, i5, i7 processor. So I don't know that that's out there. 4th generation Core i5 4300U. Does that match here? 1.6 gigahertz with turbo boost up to 2.9. They're listing 2.9 as the higher end speed on this table. And on their documentation on their website, it's saying 1.6 gigahertz with turbo boost up to 2.9. So there's...
Sure. So I'm looking at a comparison to the Atom Z3770 because that's the next step down basically, and it's close for some things. The Atom has 4 cores. This technically is only a dual core processor with 4 threads, but the base frequency is higher, but the peak frequency is higher on the Atom. So I think it's going to depend on what sort of operations that you're doing. I just think it's an interesting chipset choice, but I do believe the battery life on that model should be significantly better than the other units, if it is in fact a Haswell, which I still can't confirm yet. But you know what, we're going to need something to talk about next week, so we will definitely do our research and get back to everyone. But of course, I believe a lot of our listeners are probably eager to pick this up, and we'll be picking up the i5 model.
I have a question for everybody, for you guys. The Core i5 starts at $999. That's 128 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of SSD, and 4 gigs of RAM. Now, just like the Surface Pro 2 argument, steps up to $1,299. So we're talking $300 more, and you double everything. 256 gig SSD, 8 gigs of RAM. Is that worth it? Is $300 worth it to step up?
It's the sweet spot.
What?
It's the sweet spot, and I'll tell you,
it is the sweet spot for hardware, but to me, it's not the sweet spot for pricing.
But that RAM for you pro users out there, you guys that are big power users, am I wrong or am I wrong? You're going to want that 8 gigabytes of RAM.
I mean, yeah.
There's no way around it. I mean, you're not going to make that kind of investment as a desktop replacement or a high-end laptop replacement and be happy with 4 gigabytes. My biggest concern with a lot of the competitors they showed, the Airs and the MacBook Pros with Retina displays, they come with 4 gig standard. You have to give the extra $100-$200 depending on the model to get that 8 gigabytes. And some of us can live without it. I can, but man, it's nice to know. It's nice to have that future-proofing in there and to just leave every app open, and not even think twice about it.
It's too bad you can't a la carte start it.
Yep, because I don't need
$9.99
256
and
gig
throw
storage.
on an extra 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah,
And
I don't
keep it
need
at 128 SSD.
Yep, I totally agree. But of course, we all know how they like to do things. In fact, I think it would be nice to see this sold more like a laptop and not a tablet, and say, pick your processor, pick your RAM, pick your SSD. There may be some limitations, right? There's no reason to have an i3 and 512 gigabytes probably, but it would be nice to kind of be able to build your own. Apparently that is a 4th generation chip. So I guess that means it is Haswell in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah,
i3.
Yeah, right there. I know my phone. I know it's blurry.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, thanks.
So it is very attractive. And I hate to always compare to Apple, right? But so does Microsoft.
They did today for sure.
And the Surface, Apple makes the software and the hardware. They're the only vendor that does that, except for Microsoft that now does that. And I think that's what the CEO was talking about. The hardware is gorgeous, gorgeous hardware. Everything just looks great. The keyboard looks better. The stylus looks better. We haven't even gotten to the stylus, so let's make sure that we do, try to make it there in the not too distant future. But can we talk about the weight? I was not excited about this device at all because I'm like, well, of course it's going to be thinner. It's larger. That's easy. You can make anything thinner if you make it larger. You know how thin my phone is? It's because it's 6.44 inches display size. That's why it's so thin. But man, 1.76 pounds. My Surface 2 is lighter, but not by much.
And the video was just fantastic, the presentation, where they threw up a MacBook Air. And then he just flopped that iPad Air. And I can see the Mackies and the iPad people just like, oh, you're going to scratch the back. And he's just flopping it up there. It was great. And the scale never moved, by the way. The scale never moved.
No.
Hey, just to follow up, we're the Surface Geeks. I'm David McKay. That's John Wiskowski. If you're joining us on Google or you're on YouTube, you can chat with us over at surfacegeeks.net/live. You can ask questions. You can post questions. You don't have to log in. You don't need passwords. You just put your chat handle in there, and you can chat with us. There's a lot of guys out there discussing a lot of stuff right now. And, of course, find us on Twitter at Surface Geeks. You'll find out everything we're talking about. And then some. So we're talking about the weight. We're talking about the scale. The scale got a lot of attention today. There's even a Twitter account that popped up about the Surface scale. And this thing is, it's like Surface 2, but they shoved an i7 processor in it.
It's a slightly larger in the dimensions Surface 2. Mm-hmm. It really is, a Surface 2 Pro, and I say it that way because that's how I really see it. It's like, hey, we like this Surface 2 design. We like the weight. We like the thickness. We like the look. We like the color. Let's see what we can do. And I feel that's what they did here. Yeah. And part of that thinness and weight would scare me because I'm so tired of this race for thin, as I think you might have heard me talk about before. Because why? Because the first thing to go is battery life. Oh, let's make this thing thin. We got to make it thin. We have to make it light. We just have to. And I want things light. I don't want to argue that, but the thinness worries me when I see them get too thin because to me that's an extra millimeter or two of battery I'm losing.
Right.
Well, I don't know what they did with Intel, but they talked about their partnership, And it has to be more than just on the CPUs because these are off the shelf parts. We've seen that you can get the same chip in some other platform, but they must have worked on the motherboard, on the other chipsets. They talked about the fan, the work that they did there. I haven't heard a company since Apple talked about the fan in the MacBook Pro and the Mac Pro talk about a fan like they did.
Right.
But
And
how about the battery life they're getting out of these?
a lot of talk about every single little thing that the press wrote up about Surface Pro and Surface Pro 2. It's like they took a bullet list and put it on a chalkboard and said, we're going to address all of these. This is what they said they want. We're going to fix them. And man, they did. As I listen to my fan spinning, and I'm reaching back here to touch the back of my Pro 2, and I could fry an egg on it. It's so hot. It's never died on me. Don't get me wrong, but Google Hangouts and Google Plus are just horrible on the browser and RAM and processor, and it's just
And that is not the fault of the Surface Pro 2.
no, and it works it, but I can hear the fan.
Right. I have a
So
Mac
I'm
Mini.
really interested to see.
It is
what
completely
happens when I-
silent until we start hanging out. And if we're doing a hangout and I have the chat room open, oh, forget it. It's done.
So
But
that's what I'm trying to figure out. What am I going to do with my Surface Pro 2?
but the battery
Windows
life,
died.
right?
What's
9
that?
hours. 9 hours of battery life, though.
9 hours of battery life. Now here's something interesting.
Go ahead.
The Surface Pro battery cover was just released. I mean, that thing is just barely in the wild right now.
Right.
It will work with Surface Pro 3. It might look funny
Yeah.
with this little bitty keyboard on this big 12-inch tablet, but it will add 6 hours of battery life to
Yeah.
Surface Pro 3.
Yeah, I would see that as just a really thin external battery pack, even if you didn't use the keyboard. But 9 hours of battery life on something like this, I mean, wake up OEMs, right? I mean, not many Ultrabooks have that battery life that are twice as thick, twice as big. The MacBook Air does, and they talked about that, and that's one reason Apple gets applauded. But what's the processor in that, right? That's not a power processor. It's
Right.
always a scaled back one. So I think this is very impressive, and I think it'll be interesting to hear what the reviewers think of this, especially from sites like Anantech and things like that really look into the parts, the components, the battery output, the milliamps, and figure out how is this possible, and is that only with the i3? Does the i7 take off an hour or two? All those things will be kind of interesting to see in the weeks and months ahead.
Right. A little piece of hardware that doesn't connect to the Surface Pro 3 has also been improved, but it did make some changes in the hardware. And John, I didn't get a chance to talk with you about this, but I've got someone that's going to join us next week to educate us on Surface Pro and art and how to use this little thing here that I hold in my hand. Audio guys, I'm holding the pen.
For the Surface Pro 2.
stylus,
Yeah.
per se. Surface Pro 3 has a brand new digitizer. It's not a Wacom. It's, what is it, an Intrig?
Yes. Yep.
And that had Twitter a little bit up in arms, but it also has a new pen, and they did a lot of work in this area. I was really impressed about its functionality, about its integration with OneNote. I think the rumors leaked about a Surface with deep integration into writing and OneNote. They were correct. They were just on the wrong platform. It was supposed to be on the Surface Pro 3. And what did you think, John? Did you see the video where he was holding the tablet and he first did the click?
Right.
He says, what do you do when you pick up the pad of paper? You click your pen on. So he did. He clicked his pen on, and the Surface Pro 3 woke into writing
Yep.
mode instantly.
And part of that's because of the technology that they chose. You actually pair the pen with the device. You don't do that with the stylus that you have today. You just start writing, and you could use some other pen to, there is some mix and match you can do, but this is a specialized pen, and he did call it a pen more than a stylus. It feels like a pen. It's the size of a pen, but that the button that looks like an eraser is a OneNote button, and you click that, the tablet could be off the Surface Pro 3 could be off, and you hit that, it turns on immediately with OneNote in the foreground. And
That's
when you're done, you tap the eraser button again, the OneNote button, and it makes sure to sync with OneDrive. Of course, that normally would happen, but that's like, no, I just took a note. I want you to save this now. I don't want you to lose this. And I think that is great. That's how you do a pen right. That's why you should have one on a device like this.
right. Now, the information I was able to discern from a few people about the change from Wacom to Intrig on the digitizer was pure portability. I don't understand it, and that's why I immediately reached out to. He's actually a member of our forums. He runs a
That was my
blog,
guess. Yeah.
Surface Pro Art. I think it's surfaceproartist.com. I'll look that up here in a second. He does have their blog has a guest spot in Surface Geek forums where they talk about all their apps and their pens and their styluses and stuff. And sometimes I get lost on it. I'm just not an artist. But I invited him in to talk with us next week to kind of educate us on that, because I know a lot of you guys have questions about that, and sometimes I'm just not the best in answering that. So when I say portability with the change from Wacom, I mean the ability to make it thin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they did. I'm sure that that was not, a light consideration in their build, but that's what I understand that change to be.
And it has come a long way. There's no reason to have one vendor that is in this space. There should be more than one for competitive purposes as well. So it's always good to see a new technology. And from what they showed us, it looks great. So I'm sure the reviewers will have something to say. I'm sure the first owners will have something to say. So it looks great. And I think we talked about the stylus. They talked about the one-handed use a lot too, which, man, I can't wait to try. I got to see what this is like in the hand. It's not a small device. It's thin and it's light, but the dimensions, it's going to be interesting. And probably the form factor plays into that. You mentioned the 3x2, 2x3 form factor, which I believe is used on the iPad, correct?
I've never used one with iPad. I know they sell all kinds of different little fancy ones.
No, not the pen. The form factor of the screen.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about the pen.
No, but I was talking about, they showed holding the Surface Pro 3 like a book, like a notepad.
They did.
In portrait mode.
And he held it like that more and more and more. And I think it was just that is their vision. That button is changed. It's on the bottom, and it's portrait, kind of like that iPad. You're right.
It's so interesting.
I can't wait to futz around with it. I want to hold this thing. I want to play with it.
And so we talked about holding it, right? So I think we really need to see that and feel it ourselves and hear some more about that. But you can obviously hold it any way that you like. They held it in one hand very often. I want to see what that's really like. But what about the kickstand?
Oh man,
something I asked for.
0 to 150 degrees.
That's correct, sir.
And it would actually lay down. And there was a point when we did the meetup last year, Meetup 3, which is something we do for HomeServerShow.com and SurfaceGeeks.net for all the readers and listeners that want to come out and do, a big geek fest. We did registration with the Surface RT, and it only had one kickstand mode, and so I had it kicked up there, and I was like, okay, just check in, find your name, scroll, and hit check in, and people were bending down and trying to see. And finally, I just closed the kickstand and just laid it down on the table, and people were, checking in with it. And this is one of those perfect examples where it would be great. And I find myself, I'll take when I'm done with this podcast, I sometimes don't come back up to this office for several days when I'm done, because I'll undock the Pro 2, take it downstairs with a keyboard clicked on it. I've got the it's not here now, but I've got the little travel mouse, the Surface travel mouse, and I just leave it downstairs. and I'll throw that on the kitchen, the bar or the table somewhere down there, and I'll just walk by and tap it. And it'd be so great because I stand compute a lot downstairs, and it would be so great to look something up and to do things like that. So I'm looking forward to the kickstand.
Yeah, and I use mine on the bed to watch some videos occasionally before I go to bed. YouTube videos. Maybe I want to watch an episode of a television show, Netflix. I was in a hotel and in the lobby, right? There's when you're limited, you can never get it in the right position all the time, right? There's glare from different lights. You're in bed. You don't feel well, so you may be more propped up than you normally are, or you're in someone's house and the couch is a different type, and you want to put your legs up, you don't, right? And now I feel like you're going to have so many more options to take advantage of this screen. The on-screen keyboard, which I talked about, that I prefer, that I like using, the pen,
It'd
really
be
exciting.
interesting to see that, to flop that thing over and to be able to use the on-screen keyboard and see if I'll actually use it. I don't know. I assume that with the new hardware, the touch mouse on the new type keyboard, I'm going to love it. And I say that because where is my?
That was a huge complaint of mine. Their touchpads are horrible, in my opinion. The current ones,
Well,
horrible.
yeah. So this is my touch keyboard that
You
I
can't even see it;
purchased.
it's so small.
Yeah, it's small. I purchased this when it first came out for my, I think for my Surface 2, and then I ended up getting a backlit one. And honestly, I need to figure out the warranty on this stupid thing, but it's worn out. I have literally
Oh,
worn that
really?
thing out. The touch surface, just it's useless now. I've worn it out so much. And I had to switch back to this non-backlit one, which I actually like better. I like the Surface better, and so honestly, that is a big plus for me to move up to this new one because I really like. I'll sit down on a bar stool and pop that Surface open, and I will just do work. I'll just do it right there. I'll never even come up the stairs to this office because I can do it all
Yep.
right there.
And as if you're not used to using a touch screen, the trackpad's where it's at for all of your gestures. And man, it's not easy to do gestures on that current trackpad.
No,
Size
it's
alone. I
not.
mean, I got big fingers.
I definitely don't do gestures. What I find myself doing is I have my left hand
Doing a
up on the
combo. Yep.
it's my scroll thumb. I have a
Yeah.
left scroll thumb up
Yes.
and down, and then
Right.
my other finger is on this trackpad, moving the
Yep.
mouse when I need it. And otherwise, I'm a keyboard kind of guy. I'm the keyboard
Yeah.
shortcut
Because
kind of.
I was hoping they were going to add some more gestures to the type cover. So like maybe if I wanted the whole thing to be a trackpad, I could. And there are some things you can do, but no, this looks great. It has two magnets on it, one at the dock, one further down, so you can kind of hook it onto the Surface. It gives you a little bit of a typing angle, which you're missing today.
Correct.
Trackpad's bigger, and it's only a type cover, correct? They realize this is a pro machine. Let's just do type.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know what that says for touch cover. Does that say touch cover's out? Touch cover's done?
I think it depends what happens with the Surface 2.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. I love the type cover. I can boogie on it. I can type on it. I like it. I can type on my lap. I don't choose to do it, so I'm interested in their new word lapability. I'm interested in trying that. I'm interested in flopping that keyboard up to get the typing angle to see how sturdy it is when I'm banging away at the keyboard. Um, Durability. I hope it's durable. Remember we had problems of keyboards coming apart up here at the joint because these joints do take a lot of twists and turns. I open and close mine a lot, snapping in and snapping off. So I'm interested in the durability. I think that they've learned that lesson. They know that we pop them in and out, so they have to be. This has to be 100%. It has to be durable. So I hope that they've learned that lesson.
Yep.
Have we beat the hardware horse to death?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we want to go too long. There wasn't any new software. There wasn't any first-party software really talked about much today, but there was a new version of Photoshop, I believe, shown off, correct, and hinted at a more touch-friendly version of Photoshop CC.
Correct. And I'm sure the Photoshoppers oohed and awed. I was just like, man, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
not
cool.
not my thing at all.
I
But
have it. I only have CS 5.5. I
right,
realize I'm
yeah.
like
Old school. Listen to
3
you.
years old, 4 years old, but when I need something, it gets it done, and I can barely do that. So
So yeah, really positive overall about everything. Same high quality cameras, 5 megapixel front and rear, and I love that the front camera is 5 megapixel. That's a quality camera. Some smartphones are doing that now too. On a smartphone, it's for selfies. On a tablet like this, it's for Skype,
it's
which you know is important. Um, the micro SD card reader. Of course, they never put the right details here, so people panic. Oh, does it do HDSXWHWI? I'm sure it goes up to 128 gigabyte SD card. We'll find out for sure shortly. We went over the screen resolution, multi-touch, the weight, the physical buttons, that it has that not all other tablets have. They're pretty decent buttons, but it does list pre-installed apps, and it's your normal things there, but there's the first one I think is a very interesting pre-installed app. I'm not sure if you caught that, Dave.
all right. What is it?
What's the worst app in the App Store, but one of your favorite apps to use?
Me?
Yeah, not on the Surface, but what's one of your favorite apps on a tablet, but the worst app in the Windows Store?
I don't know. You've got me. You have absolutely stunned me.
Flipboard.
Oh.
You love Flipboard.
I do. I love my Flipboard, and it is
not horrific on Windows.
On the Windows platform.
That's the first app they list on pre-installed apps.
Oh.
It's Flipboard.
Hopefully, God, they'll have it improved.
That's for Darren. Hopefully, Darren listens to the whole show tomorrow, and that one's for you. I threw that in there.
He'll be screaming at us for sure. We're gonna be in a lot of trouble with Darren.
The first app is Flipboard.
Just for you guys listening, you know Darren Cohen. You've listened to our show. I don't think he was pleased at all. So just look out when he gets back. Just look out.
So tonight was about the product, and I think next week we'll have some commentary.
We'll have time to digest. We do need time to digest, and we'll be able to do things for you like that and to comment. And hopefully we've seen it by then. I hope it's at a store for demo. Sure. Now, I teased you at the top of the hour that I'm going to tell you some things that you did not find out at the event. You did not find out on Twitter. You did not find out from Microsoft. And some subtle little things that are buried very, very, very deep in the information that John and I were able to glean out. And the first thing I want to just to tell John, a lot of this stuff is going to be enterprise stuff, education. But the first thing is, you may not have seen it, but this thing has 802.11 AC. Golf clap, everybody. Microsoft released something that's up to freaking date, John.
And it is huge. I have devices that are AC and devices that aren't, and at least in my home, substantially more throughput on the AC devices.
Now, okay, they didn't put your LTE on here, and no. I understand. I understand the no LTE on the Surface Pro 3 because it's we're going after Ultrabooks. A lot of Ultrabooks have LTE on it. It increases the bill of materials, and right now the Surface Pro 3 just cannot stand to have BOM
no,
one iota. Not.
But hopefully one day it's on the Intel Ultrabook.
Hopefully one day they can get those chips for like 25 cents, and get those get partnerships done. They've got one LTE partnership piece of hardware done. So with your Surface 2, John, hopefully
I'll say 2 with the 2520 as well from Lumia.
Okay, 2520 with some Nokia folks that we've got over in the camp now. So hopefully they're learning, and future devices, it'll just all be on there. Hopefully. Okay, for you enterprise guys, that here's some interesting information for you. Say you're going to have a lot of these Surface Pros out in your school, your hospital, your warehousing, wherever, the field. You put one of these in a pickup truck for a guy. You can now password protect the UEFI settings. So you can protect users from changing settings, such as enabling like boot from USB, for someone trying to put on some kind of Debian or Linux, or just people monkeying around in your bootloader. You can protect that so nothing happens. Schools, anywhere administrators want to lock out users from accessing the settings, changing the settings that have been set by you, the administrator. So.
This is pretty big. I'll tell you, coming from the enterprise, I've been disappointed there hasn't been a larger uptake on tablets of all shapes and sizes, including the Surface. It's because of features like these not being present. So this is actually pretty big, again, to our commercial users.
I think something they probably learned from feedback from people saying, you guys don't have this, we cannot buy them in bulk for our organization. I think this is exactly what they've done. Another checkbox that they said we have to have this done. So again, you can password protect firmware. You can disable boot from USB. That's a big one.
Huge.
Just don't
Huge.
even let it happen. Schools, you do not want to let your students monkey around, with your boot. So you can also further protect this device when it's out in the field. You can disable the USB port. You can disable the card reader, the micro SD. I don't think we even talked about it. You did. Hopefully it's a 128. It's right underneath.
It says here it says SDXC, so we're good. 128.
Okay, you found that?
Well, if it's SDXC, it's at least 64, but I can't imagine they would limit it to just that. So
I would hope so. I would hope so. So prevent use of USB and card reader accessories. Shuts down access to the USB in the card reader. So
awesome. That's huge for my organization.
Yeah. No viruses getting in. Government offices. It's probably huge for government.
And credit card data. If you're doing something with credit card transactions or personal information, that's the quickest way to get it off.
Another thing for commercial enterprise guys, on-screen keyboards available at startup for security pins. Mobile workers, healthcare, school, the guy in the pickup out there, counting oil wells or something. I don't know. But this thing walks off. It's got a pin. It will not boot. No one can get into it.
We used the endpoint encryption that they talk about here, it's we haven't been able to deploy it on a tablet, not just Surface, but we have some other tablets that we're using out in the field, Windows 7, Windows 8. They don't have keyboards. Endpoint is useless because there's no keyboard attached. So instead of having to wait for all these third-party vendors and even Microsoft, there's even some issues with the BitLocker support. You need an on-screen keyboard. Boom. There it is. Huge right there.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Exactly. Something we don't talk about a lot, embedded Windows. It's just something that we just really don't get into. But I guess it's not that sexy of a topic. This is the Embedded Windows podcast. But you can now, they've enabled this thing so it can be embedded. I don't know. Maybe it's a kiosk machine.
Yep.
Something.
Like you just said, using it to do a check-in at an event. You don't want to have to worry about it.
There you
just
go.
Put it out there. You'd secure it to something with the Kensington security lock or some kind of laminate casing or whatever it is. But hey, put it in kiosk mode.
Yep, it can go straight to Windows Embed. And the last thing that I'm sure that Microsoft just literally got beat up about, and this is something that all the phones can do. Apple's doing it on their MacBooks and on their iPads, and it's tracing that thing down. You hear the stories of, hey, my iPad got lost, and I used what is the Apple thing that where you find it on the website?
Find my iPhone.
Yeah, you shut it down, or you can track it, whatever, and hopefully get it back. But they've enabled CompuTrace support. Now, this is a little different. This is LoJack. I'm sure you've all heard, you guys have heard of LoJack, but it's going to be supported. and it's going to have absolute persistence. You're going to be able to get it no matter what. So if your devices walk off of that oil-filled pickup truck, it's locked down. You can't get into it with a pin. You don't have the pin, and you can also track that thing. So hopefully we shared at least a couple of new points that you guys hadn't been able to discern from all the information. From the chat room, Dave, would you recommend the i3 version for school use? I think so. Wouldn't you, John? Wouldn't this be
yeah.
entry level?
Yeah, unless there's a special application that needs a lot of power for a unique use case, but otherwise,
It's going to be your OneDrive Office machine. Why not? Absolutely. Now, if you're a computer science student and you're going to be loading up a bunch of compilers and stuff, but maybe not. Maybe not. Modeling software. Definitely, I would go with the i3 version. We're going to see tonight at midnight. John and I are going to have snack break weekly right after Surface Geeks. We're going to stay up till midnight and both order the Surface Pro 3. Right, John?
Okay.
Okay. Credit cards out. All right.
OLT. Oh.
Okay, again, YouTubers, we're here at Surface Geeks, surfacegeeks.net/live. If you want to chat to us, because I know you're going to want to chat right now, someone tweet this out so I can retweet it. We're going to start talking Surface Mini, talking what was, what never was there. So, YouTubers, you can go to surfacegeeks.net/live. There's a chat room. I have it up. I'm watching your chat, and I will try to answer your questions to the best of my ability within NDA. How about that? And within our knowledge of the situation about the Surface Mini. Jim says that's a long time. He means waiting 2 hours. They're a little
hour and a half. You know, and actually we started
an hour
late,
and a half.
hour and 15. Yeah. Hey, Jim.
We passed the time. Jim, we'll bring you in. We will bring you in, Jim. Jim, if you want to jump in now, just let me know. So did anybody tweet? Let me write that. Don, why don't you just bring us in?
So let's just say that because of some wording in the event invite, the word being small, which we'll still have to analyze one day why that was there. Maybe we'll get into a little bit of that now. But and because of the rumored Surface Mini from way back when the original Surface 2, Surface Pro 2 came out, a lot of people expected or wanted so badly that they turned that into expectations, a Surface Mini. And then because of some of the rumors that must have come out about a new pen and close OneNote integration, OneDrive integration, it all got smushed together, and it all made sense that we would see a mini Surface today. Everything rumored from a RT-only model to a Surface Mini Pro model with x86 support, to not having a kickstand, to having a special case, to how quickly it would be available, to the reason it was delayed, supply constraints, and it just went on and on and on. Where, I mean, I think you would have placed money that there'd be a Surface Mini today. And then there were some rumors that started coming out, not just rumors, but it was rumors that were repeated, that, hey, there might not be a Mini announced today. And that brings us to what happened today.
Yeah, a small event. Now, this is going to be conspiracy theory, magic bullet, what do you call the grassy knoll kind of stuff. A small event. Well, it was a small venue. It was, because I tried to get press credentials and I couldn't. I'm not on the A list, so I think I'm more like C and D list. But maybe I'm B list. I did get invited to the party, but I didn't get invited to the press list. So that could explain that. But sometimes you make those invites and you lead into You give out information like that, lead into the event, and so one has to wonder when those invites were created, because that's a marketing thing, and those could have been that could have been a month ahead of the decision about the mini. The other thing is we kind of know, we kind of don't know that Surface Mini was available last year using a Qualcomm ARM chip. A lot of this is hearsay. A lot of this is rumor. Some of this is deniable because I see people already reversing course on some of these very statements. So it was my understanding it was the latest Qualcomm chip, but when I say latest, that was fall of 2013, John. That Qualcomm chip went into tons of gear that's already on the street. It's in
Yep.
it's in the Icon, is it not?
Yeah. It started with around the Nexus 5-ish time frame for phones and a couple other phones last holiday. The 1520. It's in the Icon. It's in the 930. It's in the Lumia 2520. It's in a lot of other phones, and a variant of it, the Snapdragon 801, is out in all the current flagships. So, yeah.
So there's some fuel to that fire about, if that was the device that they had ready, quote unquote. Everybody says, well, this device was ready. It just had to go. It just had to be manufactured. If that's the case, then one has to wonder, maybe they really weren't ready to do this. Maybe that hardware, it's aged, John. You're releasing old hardware.
It would sort of bother
We
me a
all
little
know,
bit.
if you go to
Yeah.
Qualcomm's site, they list the next generation that they're hyping right now. That's going to go into devices. I guarantee you manufacturers have that chip right now, and they're putting it in devices that are
It's
going to...
possible that a flagship phone gets announced next week with the Snapdragon 805, which will have key performance.
Is that the G3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next week. So
Yeah.
this chip is going to date everything that has gone into this mini. Okay, so there's one check mark. It's old hardware. Maybe it's ready, but it's old hardware. The second is, when I started this podcast with you, John, I said Satya Nadella came out and he said, we're looking at what the OEMs are doing. We don't want to be like what everybody else is doing. We want to fit a different niche. And they said that very loudly with the Surface Pro 3. This is a pro device. Now, granted, they are reaching down low with that Core i3 at the $799 price. But to me, they are trying to find their niche. And it is just my belief. This is just me. This is not Surface MVP. This is not someone that knows Microsoft people. I do honestly think that gear was pulled because it was too familiar with the Dell, the Toshiba, the Lenovo, all those 8-inch form factors. I hate to think that it had anything to do with RT, because I know so many of you guys wanted to see it. You wanted to see it on RT. You wanted to see the life get re-entered into RT with that brand new OneNote note-taking ability. And I'm with you. I was there. A week prior, I was asking John and Darren, saying, I said, guys, I have organization issues. Everybody knows that when you listen to my podcasts. But I need the ability to track things and to calendar things and to integrate all in one. I'm not the best at stopping and putting something into a calendar or stopping and taking notes. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And we started talking about, okay, here's this, here's that, here's how something integrates. And then we came back to maybe OneNote. Maybe we should look at OneNote. And I kept saying, well, I've got OneNote. I don't know. Uh, I don't know if that's what I want to do. And then this rumor came out: pen and ink, OneNote, baby. Pen on an 8-inch form factor. And I was like, oh my God, if I had that ability, that click on the pen and my 8-inch came alive and I could jot something down real quick and just throw that thing back down on the kitchen table, I think my needs would be met. So I was very excited about the possibilities of an 8-inch RT machine. To be honest with you, John, I didn't know, and I still don't, if it would be popular. A lot of people want it. A lot of people are pissed that they didn't announce it, but I do feel that there were enough things against that little piece of gear that it was the right thing to say, no, put that back on the shelf. Let's do something different. Let's regroup and maybe put out a better product. Maybe put out a more differentiating product. Maybe we're waiting on RT to catch up with a pure touch device. Maybe we're waiting on the Dream device. Maybe it just needs LTE. Maybe they said, yeah, we know
We heard you,
a
John.
couple of you guys want it, and it didn't have LTE on it, so we're not going to release it. I don't know.
So what I would like to see after seeing what we did for the Surface Pro 3 is a Surface Pro 3 Mini. I want them to take all the things they learned making the Surface Pro 3, heat dissipation, the fan, the battery,
Do you want that i3 on it? Do you
thinness,
want that Atom on
the
it?
size, the pen, and I like RT. So I don't want to say I want to say I don't care. I would still buy it if it was an RT only device. And I think RT only makes sense when you can go more touch, which would mean a touch version of Office, which we know is coming. So my prediction really falls on everything that you said and the fact that let's do this right, and they talked about doing hardware that's different. Let's not do what the OEMs are doing. You can go get an Asus VivoNote, a Dell ThinkPad 8. No, I'm not getting that right. A Dell, what's the name of it?
Pro.
Pro 8. There's other 8-inch tablets with a pen that you can go buy, right? So why not wait and do it right, and maybe use some of the learnings and technology from the Surface Pro 3 when the costs have come down a little bit, and maybe use a next-gen Snapdragon processor, a Tegra processor, or even an x86 processor.
I think it was I think it was too me too. We have
Especially if
one
it
too.
wasn't priced right, and that could have been part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would definitely have to be priced right. And I hate to think that it was an OEM thing, that the OEM said, man, we really would like you not to release this. But you never know. You never know on that. Not a lot of chat right now. I think we wore them out on Pro 3. Not a lot of chat on Mini. I'm still interested to know if you were were you in line to buy one? Were you going to pre-buy one?
I probably would have bought one myself. I was certainly thinking about doing it.
I
If it
would
had
definitely.
LTE, I wouldn't even have thought twice about it. Without LTE, I probably would have found a way to go back to using my hotspot. Again, it's one more thing to carry. Ouch. Or
Oh,
trying to
I would have grumbled.
leverage a combination of making my phone into a hotspot and using Wi-Fi if and when it was available.
Yeah,
But I
we
think it would
both
have
would
been
have
great
bought
for
it.
some. I think it would have been great for some of my work situations where I do need to jot down a note. That one click launch OneNote, perfect in a handheld device.
I mean, okay, here's left field.
Okay.
the Nokia purchase, the 2520, the 1520. It's all, Windows Phone looks kind of good on this mid-tablet space. Maybe left field says, hey, maybe this form factor needs to be Windows Phone.
Right, or some kind of hybrid of the two that we haven't even seen yet, but may see. May see soon. Like it's more and more they're coming closer together, Windows RT and Windows Phone. Maybe there's an update, to RT that brings it even closer.
Maybe, man, this is so left field. Maybe Office is coming along a little better for Windows Phone than it is RT.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it would be a better experience.
Considering it's done.
To have it touch and have no desktop option on RT. I don't know. It's all extremely left field out there. I don't have the answers. I wish I had the answers.
I'm sure Darren will have the answers.
Darren always has the answers.
Yeah.
I would hope that their next play would be a holiday announcement. They've got this in. They've got this done. This is back to school. Hardware is ready. August 1st, everything's out. We're back to school. Buy a Surface Pro. Hopefully there'll be better bundles. I mean, I would love to see a bundle tonight. Give me a keyboard for $99. Pre-order special. I'll be on board. I hope that, because I like fancy new things at lower price points, I would hope that there's a holiday play up their sleeves, but I don't know. John, have we missed anything?
Oh no. Well, we may have, but I don't think so.
Have we beat it to death?
Yeah, we're getting to that point.
It comes with 8.1 update 1. I think everybody knows that. Surface Pro 3 does not support 8.1 without the update, nor does it support Windows 7.
Like you're going to try to roll that back.
There was one button I liked in this one spot. I'm going back.
I'm going back.
I will have... what I was going to do is I have the dimensions. I don't know if everybody dug into the dimensions. I was going to cut out a piece of cardboard and say this is the dimension and hold it against
the
Surface 2 just for everybody to see. I probably will still do that for my own benefit. But
that's what you do in your free time?
That's how weird that I am.
I print out dimensions of phones and see if they're too small for me or not. So far, every one but one is.
You gotta do it with cardboard because you can't hold a little
paper
phone. It's like, okay, would this be odd? That's too big. 1520, bye.
There's no such thing as too big when it comes to phones.
Nothing is too big.
No, too big.
All right, guys. I think that we shall boogie. We're going to be talking about this next week. There's no getting away from it. I don't know what John's doing. Taking a picture of
No, we're going to be talking about this for a while because we're going to learn more and more. There's going to be... I've already watched a couple videos. There was an unboxing, a couple hands-on at the events. I don't know how much more of that we'll see. I think we'll see some more. There's always some guys that will certainly do some videos, whether or not they're supposed to sort of videos. And we'll hear more. There'll probably be some quick Q&As. The tech blog has already promised their reviews are due soon. Obviously, we don't expect them too soon. They're usually close to the product launch. But definitely more to come over the next 30 days.
Yeah, we'll definitely, you'll probably be sick of us. We're going to be talking about this all the way up. And, I'm going to try to mix it up for you. Next week, we're going to talk about, we're going to break down reaction, and we're going to talk about the pen, art, drawing, pressure, Wacom, Intrig, all of it. We're going to be talking about all that kind of good stuff. So, John, thanks for chatting with me tonight.
It was great. Very exciting.
It's a great day. It's nice to have something new, huh?
It's a very compelling product that I think a lot of people, if they don't rush out to buy it now, will certainly have it on their list. It
scares me because I want it, and I want the 8 gig. 8 gigs of RAM.
Yep, and the dock.
on the iPhone. Yeah. Dang it.
You're spending what, 1600
It would be. I mean, it's $12.99.
plus the dock.
Well, okay, $12.99 plus $129. 14.30 plus 200.
It was easier to add the dock first, but that's okay. To
Way
do
too
that.
much money. So I
Yeah.
do have an RT, a Surface 2 32, a Surface 2 64, and I have a Surface Pro 2.
So
I
those will be
could.
hitting eBay soon, everybody. And Dave, this will be Dave's Surface Pro 3 fund.
So, well, yeah, I need
Me,
to start up a
I would want.
Indiegogo.
I would also want the 8 GB model. I'll forgo the keyboard, let's say right now, but I want the dock. But I want at least a 2K, if not a 4K monitor to hook up to that bad boy.
Great.
So, if you're gonna do it, Dave, you got to go all in. You can't have a resolution on your tablet higher resolution than the resolution of your desktop monitor. That's a rule somewhere, I think.
That is a rule. I'm breaking that rule right now.
Ooh.
I'm definitely breaking that rule. All right. I'm going to go check my Pacer score. Chat room, thanks for joining us. Hey, make sure you join the forums. Head out to the forums right now. surfacegeeks.net/forums. And we'll talk everything else about this.
The Pacers lead Miami 60-54.
Yes.
3 minutes left in the third quarter.
All right. Good night, guys.
Go Heat. White hot Heat, baby.
They're in Indy, too.
I do like the Pacers, though. Yeah. Indiana, #1, huh? Getting that home court advantage. You know what an upset it is if Indiana wins this?
Yeah, after they beat the Heat. After struggling with
I mean, the Indiana could win tonight. That's 2 games, right?
That would be 2 games.
But man, the Heat could win the next 4, right? There's no denying that.
Yeah, they would have to go back to your house for 2.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I was afraid we'd have to wait to the finals to see some fun. Sure, that's what Darren's doing, watching the game on his Surface RT.
Yeah.
School.
We had a packed house, man.
Full house. Go chat.
There were 20-something in chat, and there were 40-something on YouTube. We had a pretty packed house. Woohoo!
You would think something happened today.
As all these guys are tweeting pictures from Rattle and Hum of all their surfaces lined up in a row. Did you see that one picture?
Yes.
Disgusting. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4,
How many they have?
5, 6 of them. It kills me, dude. Miriam got one, and she works for Pebble.
That's awesome that they show her some respect, though. Not everybody has. I mean, she still reviews technology. She's got a lot of YouTube followers, a heck of a lot of Twitter followers. So.
It's not fair.
And let's be honest, she's a lot cooler than we are.
I just want one now. I just want one
right?
now.
In fact, I would even surrender it. Just let me play with one for the next month.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll FedEx it back.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna keep it.
Pristine condition. Trust me, I'm really good at returning things within 30 days. Ask Amazon. Like new. They just take my stuff and sell it to the next person who orders it. I literally put all the stickers back on, the little plastic wrap, everything. The little cable ties. I mean, sometimes I don't unbox the AC adapter or the cables. I don't use it long enough. So
Exactly.
I roll off one charge.
Ding 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 ding. Wish I could play that music for the podcast.
Can we have anymore? Can we do, or no?
Wait, what?
Are we allowed to have music every now and then, or the rules are? I don't know.
I would like to be able to mix in, but no, you can't.
But you can play up to like 7 seconds or 10 seconds, isn't it? Something like that.
Oh, it's something like that.
Like you could do like a quick intro, outro thing. Little segue sound.
What good is 7 seconds? Doom, 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 doom. Okay, it's done.
Okay, welcome back to Surface Geeks.
Welcome back to Surface Geeks. The next topic is
Yeah, I was proud of us. I was afraid we were going to go down a rat hole in that Surface Mini. You know, if our cohort was here, that Surface Mini segment would have been an hour long.
Why is Darren angry? We must get Darren help.
Yes, I agree. Just wait, guys. Wait till next week.
We must get Darren some help. I got so many notifications while we were doing this. Crazy. All right, YouTubers, I'm going to end this before it goes over 2 hours. And I get the 2-hour tax.
Happy Surface Day, everybody.
Happy
Hit up
Surface
the
Pro
forums.
3.
Let us know if you pre-order tonight, tomorrow, whether you win one. I don't know. Let us know.
Thanks for hanging with us.